Hello, hello, hello. Assalamu alaikum. Ji ayanum. Pakhair ragale ni hao. Chune shumme washmale. Oh, hi, Gonzaimas. Guten Morgen. Hi, hugs and hellos. And a very amazing khush ahmadi to everybody who is tuned into PT1 and watching one this morning. Alongside Maha Makhdoom and Shazad Khan. Hello, Maha. How are you?
Assalamu alaikum everyone. Hello Shazad. I'm good, but I do wish that I was you today.
Be honest, man.
I wish I was you today. I'm being honest. I wish I wasn't myself today because I'm having. The day has already begun and I've had already a terrible day. But I'm happy to be on the show. It kind of helps change my mood. And the fact that you keep devaluing my feelings doesn't make me feel good.
Oh my God. Well, I didn't do that. Our producer
Totally
did.
kidding,
And he even tried to do that, but it's perfectly
no.
all right.
Basically, they were just trying to cheer me up because I actually ended up having a road accident today. So all those road public services messages, this is the reason. And the problem is we were both indicating, the problem was we both thought we had the right of way. And I'm pretty sure I was on the roundabout, but this gentleman likes to disagree. So
I think the only confusion might be because I think the last time when I went to UK and I was driving a car, you know, there were too many people honking because of the fact, and you know, when you go to places like United Kingdom or USA, and if there are people honking, that particularly means that they're abusing you because of the fact that you're not doing something right. So I didn't know that, you know, the first person to be in the roundabout has actually got the right, not the other guy who keeps on coming in. And this is what we see. But over here in Islamabad, the weather today is superb.
It is.
And I think that might have been a cause of the accident as well, because the cars are slipping. So please make sure that you do not let your car slip. And other than that, you know, there's one thing which is very funny about my country, and that is that whenever it starts to rain, the electricity goes off.
Okay.
And you know,
we've had a very eventful 12 hours since.
Exactly. So the electricity went at what, 3 a.m. in the morning, and I couldn't sleep. So yeah, here I am, very clueless of the fact that you know what's going on.
So did you get dressed in the dark today?
Yes, obviously. You know, that's
well
why.
Done. You've got good eyesight.
So whatever I had, I was like, okay, let's just wear that because you know Maz got an accident earlier as well. But ladies and gentlemen, I think it's very stressful today.
Yes, it's very stressful.
I don't know what to do.
Yeah, same. Well, luckily, that's what we're talking about today. But
really?
Yeah, but we are focusing on the workload stress area and the workplace stress and the work environment stress as well, which can be, you know, which can increase if you've had a stressful journey to work. But we're going to be talking about what are the causes, what are the symptoms, what are the psychological, physical and biological effects of it all, and how can we cope and manage with it?
Exactly.
Because everyone, my mother always says that she's allergic to the word stress, but it is something that is a lot of people suffer with in the 21st century.
And I think you've said it very right. One of our guests, he said it, that, you know, while you're making your way towards work, the traffic actually gives you the stress which you never wanted. But other than that, you know, Maha, as far as, you know, television channels are concerned, or whatever the type of work we do you think it is stressful?
Of course it is.
It is.
Because I had to make a choice. Either I continue fighting and getting money out of this gentleman for my car, or I come and do the live show. So, you know, you have the stresses. So you have responsibility for the work, you have accountability. It depends on how much you are committed as well to your environment and the things you're working
Exactly.
with.
So let's see what our guests have to say. On my right-hand side, ladies and gentlemen, we have got Mr. Salman Farooq, who's an educationist and an executive trainer. Hello, sir. How are you? Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, Shahzad Maha. It's good to be here.
Stressed or
It's always great to see you.
I'm trying. It's in between.
Somewhere in between.
We're probably
50,
not
50.
helping.
All right. Alongside Mr. Salman Farooq, we have got Ms. Uzma Masroor, who's a clinical psychologist. Hello. Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Wa alaikum salam. I'm fine.
Thank you very much for making it to our studio.
Yes. Thank you.
And even though it's raining outside and it's very rushy because kids are going back to school, but still, thank you very much. And alongside Ms. Uzma Masroor, we have got Ms. Taira Javed, who's a clinical psychologist too. Hello, ma'am. Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Thank you very much for coming over. That wasn't a very
you've already said you're
accepted
fine.
Assalamu alaikum, but it's perfectly all right. And if we can have a glass of water over here in the studios, that'll be superb too. I feel like as if, you know, I'm the CEO for a day. You know?
Oh, okay.
Get me a glass of water, all right?
Okay, so anyway, let's get the conversation started. So we'll start with you,
Mr. Salman.
I was going to get the psychological definition. I'm sorry, well, we'll start with Dr. as well. So tell us, what are the different causes that we see with stress?
With stress? First of all, I would like to
What is
define
stress? Yeah,
what is stress? Stress is basically a reaction to to your environment, or it is kind of your response. And usually stress is very frequently occurring phenomena at workplace, in our real life, as we have just discussed in your case as well. So stress is basically overwhelming and emotional and physical reaction of a person towards something inside his environment, like to some event, to some situation. So workplace stress specifically is related to the demands we have at our workplace, and sometimes inability to cope with them. Sometimes there are some other reasons we are feeling overwhelming, and this is stress.
Saira, what different types of stress can anybody experience?
Stresses can be of many types. For example, work-related stress. There could be stress with education. There could be stress at home. There could be stress in interpersonal relationships. So it depends what sort of a situation you're going through. And plus, I would like to add one thing in stress definition. It is the way how we perceive our environment. It is the way how we perceive the challenges going around.
Okay, excellent. So now let's move on to Mr. Salman. The causes that can now, that can increase this pressure or the tension for extended period of time within the work environment.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, life is itself is stress. There's no doubt about that. But since we're talking about work-related, there are obviously different causes, and one of the top causes is that getting laid off, especially at work.
So job security.
Job security, yeah, that's a good definition. Yeah, job security, and then obviously then your assignments is it's always stress that you need to meet the deadlines. You need to please the boss and your performance and all of that, and then the work environment itself, your colleagues and all that, to making sure you have a balanced relationship with the colleagues and people and work under you and people work above you. Another stress always is when economy is down a little bit. Then obviously the first thing companies do, they lay off their staff members, and then the workload increases. Downsize, and then workload increases. Okay. So these are some of the causes.
Okay, so today, our topic is how to eradicate workplace stress. So this is what we are talking about. So eventually, obviously, we have been discussing about the causes where you say, but I think that there are many other causes too because over here within the corporate arena or within any public organization, I think we have got a bad habit of pampering the boss too much too, right? So and eventually ending ourselves into being stressed because of the fact that somebody else can pamper the boss way better than you do.
So management.
So in Pakistan, it's not about how good of a performer you are. It is about how good of a pamper you are.
Oh, bold statement. So let's talk about.
But there are certain mental strategies we can use, and it also includes our personality. I was thinking of some personality factors which are also very important, in perceiving stress and then dealing with it. And additionally, there are some behavioral strategies also, because sometimes we are feeling different way, but we are acting differently. So sometimes it is important to understand our own, environment properly, and then our own personality and link with that environment.
Exactly. So in order to eradicate the workplace stress, then we need to understand what are the things that are causing it. So as you mentioned already, the different external factors and the pressure we put on ourselves, and then as Shahzad said, every office has its own office culture.
Yeah.
Now, this office culture, how do we try and make the best of it? Because like Shahzad said, for a long time, things have not been solely based on merit or ability. It is also the personality and the character interaction and traits. How do we deal with that? Okay. How do we manage that?
It's a very good question, but can I address Shahzad's comparing overseas versus Pakistan?
Sure.
Quickly, since I spent most of my professional life in US, more than almost 26 years altogether, and I only worked for 2 years, and then 18, 19 years I had beside my education, I had my own company. So I seen a little bit on both sides, not as much as employees, more as a boss. And then over here we have multiple businesses also, and so I can see the comparison.
Sure.
And you're very right in that sense, Shahzad, that this is exactly what we notice in US, that there is obviously still a pressure on the employees to please the boss, but not is as much as is over here, quite frankly. Over here, I was very lucky enough that I had some people work for me almost 12 or 14 years. So we had a very good relationship. They could say, to write on your face also, very nicely still, that this is not right, and this is how it needs to be done. Where unfortunately over here, most of the people, they're more likely yes men. So that's one of the biggest challenge I always had faced over here, is that people don't disagree with the boss. And because they don't disagree with the boss, they end up having stress, and then the whole environment affects over there.
Okay. But don't you think that, you know, half of the time, for example, if we were ensuring merit in every organization, don't you think that there won't be any stress then, or a little stress?
You want to say something?
No, I'm listening.
Oh yes, there would be some, but actually it's the culture. It's the Eastern culture, and our religion, and our obviously the family band. Yes, sir. So this is actually, we are brought up, our even children, from day one, that you don't just question your father, you don't question your authority. You know, it is changing to some degree because of the internet and social media, and looking at all around the world. Being Pakistan is 4th in the world for online IT services, so people are seeing it is changing. But because of the foundations are so strong, it is making it is making difficult.
Let me move on to Mrs. Very quickly, and that is that how do somebody get to know that, yes, okay, I am experiencing stress? What are the symptoms of stress?
First of all, your functioning your functioning gets impaired. First of all, you are unable to meet your tasks, your timelines, and secondly, you feel overwhelming, emotionally very irritable, agitable, and you also have physical signs as well. You know, lethargy, you know, heaviness in body, headaches, constant headaches. And the major distinction from workplace stress to a normal stress is that whenever you enter your workplace, whenever you enter your work environment, the stresses are on you. You know, your stressors are there, and then you are stressed.
Okay.
So
what
that
about
means
physically?
perception.
What do you feel physically?
You are no more interested in doing work. So, you know, small piece of work, it appears a big deal for you. So this is the biggest sign. And lack of motivation is again the biggest sign, and once you are not motivated, you are not interested. Definitely you do not find ways to do that in time. Okay. And secondly, I would also like to add in this culture, yes sir, culture, I think these are our internal schemas which we develop in our personalities right from our childhood. And culture is also very important in this aspect. So in addition to that, listening to yes only from our subordinate, we also have some, you know, needs we are achieving through this. And the same is true for the subordinate also, because he also has to grow, he also has to flourish, he also has to be, you know, like for this purpose sometimes it is important, and again culture, to behave in a certain way, no matter how much stress you are taking, but in response you are getting, you know, approval, appreciation.
Absolutely. No, so Tara, tell me, this conflict between, you know, the culture and then also a desire to have control over your own workplace environment and your career, basically. How do we balance that? Because that seems to be one of the main causes of, you know, this unhappiness, which also is part of stress as well, right?
In our culture, sometimes we have to opt for the jobs which we are not interested in just because they are heavily paid, or our parents say, yeah, we are not capable of. We just see okay, someone is referring us to that, or that's a highly paid job, so we just opt for that. But that's a cause of a stress because we are not interested, we are not capable, we are not able to deal with the challenges coming up in the job. So for that, we have to manage our stress by using different strategies. We have to prioritize, we have to get trainings. If we are not capable, we have to get trainings for that. Or we could consult someone who is capable.
Okay.
And we have to get all of these trainings, I think, before getting laid off too as well. This is something which we have to be very considerate about. But right now, ladies and gentlemen, we need to go for a short break. Yes. Very sorry for that.
That's fine.
And when we come back, I think what I'm going to ask is that it is about the amount of control the employee has over other employees as well. Because when we talk about a hierarchy, I think that they say that the CEOs actually experience the most stress. But how and why? Because they are holding the topmost position. Why are they getting stressed?
I can give one answer for that, but let's go take a break. Let's go take a break, and when you come back, let's get these questions answered.
The largest cultural activity in Pakistan is the annual National Folk Festival, Lok Mela, held in Islamabad in October each year. Over the past 2 decades, this festival has taken on an international flavor, and more than 20 different countries have sent their artisans and performers to participate in the festival. Nationally, the festival has become a thing of pride for artisans and performers who come on their own to participate. Most important of all, the provinces of Pakistan and Azad Jammu and Kashmir put up beautifully decorated pavilions, and visitors had the unique opportunity to see an assortment of Pakistan's traditionally rich culture in the federal capital of Islamabad.
Welcome back, everyone. And before the break, we're talking about workplace stress and how to eradicate it from our lives. And so far, we've talked about a bit about the symptoms, a bit about the causes, and now Shahzad has a question about the hierarchy of the whole situation.
Yeah, so what happens is that we see in organizations that the managers or the floor managers, they're the ones who are actually more stressed. But then eventually, when you get to see the CEO of the organization, does he just look busy and do nothing kind of? Is it like that or what? So, you know, why are they stressed?
Okay, I think it's an excellent question because most of people don't ask that question. And they think the CEO has the best job and is all happy. And I've been, most of my life, I've been CEO, so I can understand that.
Wow, actually, that's cool. You know, keep on dropping in the game as well.
We know you've got experience, that's why you're here.
Yeah.
No, based on that, I can say on this side of the story that CEO is actually a very lonely job because nobody else that you can to push the buck to. Yeah. So because of that, actually, you have so much stress. You need to perform and you need to bring results on the table. And if you are a public company or you have many owners, you have to meet goals and you have to meet sales. And you cannot tell, and beside the people underneath, you can't tell on the top that this is what needs to be done. So that's why it's always under pressure.
So what I
so basically, there's accountability for the lack of goals that.
No, it is. But I think that bosses or CEOs can actually vent it out while even at work. That's what they do. They'll call in the manager. Oh, why aren't you doing this? Or the production manager. Why haven't you produced this much amount of yarn as well? So.
I think we've met different types of CEOs.
Yeah.
That's actually, that is totally the wrong approach.
Okay.
If that's what a CEO is doing, venting out to his own colleagues or people underneath him, that means he's creating stress for everybody else. Yeah. And that's what the CEO's job is, to make sure he can keep the cool.
Please look into the camera, talk to all the CEOs who are out there. This camera over here.
That you have to keep the cool. You have to make sure that you have good front. Even you just have to be best actor actually at that workplace. So make sure that if you look stressed, then the whole environment, whole company will look stressed. So that's why you need to make sure that you stay cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, to be honest, I've actually I've never seen a relaxed CEO or director of a company. Most people I know, they're very stressed because
Salman.
I was going to say Dr. Salman, but Mr. Salman said that, it's the accountability, there's goals to meet, there's a certain financial targets to meet, it's a lot, and then if they don't, then you're in trouble.
It's not an easy job anyways. So, I mean, I think one of the most amazing CEOs I've seen is Mr. Fahim Sardar, and, CEO at 34. He's a great guy, and I have never ever actually seen him. He might be stressed
within
his own nutshell.
Well, I think we should go into the company and find out. But now let's move on to Ms. Tyra. Now, regarding the symptoms, you wanted to add some more, so you have a boss who's a CEO who's stressed out, who is passing on these feelings of stress. How do we, what effect will that have on the employee?
And please don't tell us that Ms. Usma is your boss.
Yes, she
was about to say that.
Yeah, she is my boss, and whenever she's stressed, she has a very good quality of her is she never vents out. Okay. She never says, she simply comes and discusses that this is the problem I'm going through, this is how we can deal with it, can you come up with some solution, can you help me out in that? Right. So that's something else, that I have a very good boss.
Okay. I think venting out is increasing your own stress.
Okay, I've never ever seen somebody sitting besides their boss and saying, oh, I've got a horrible boss. See, nobody says that.
No, but yes, actually I've got a very nice boss.
Every time you're going to sit beside your boss, you're not going to say that I've got a horrible boss. The next day you're getting laid off. Okay. Come on, don't do this.
As a culture.
Yeah. Claire, you wanted to finish.
Yeah. So I would like to add in the venting out thing, when usually CEOs vent out, they don't actually tell their employees what actual stress they have. They have to stand by their decisions, they have to take accountability, they're responsible for most of the things, but what they vent out is totally opposite to what they are facing.
Exactly.
They simply blame on employees and all, but actually they're not going through that. Okay. So talking about the symptoms, the list of physical symptoms that people feel related to stress, it is headaches, muscle tension, gastrointestinal issues. They have psychological issues which are low mood. They isolate themselves. They have interpersonal relation issues. They are least interested in whatever they're going through. They have a very incompetent feeling, though if they are competent to do the work, but they feel that they're incompetent. And lastly, they have behavioral issues. For example, they are aggressive. They don't show up for the work. They have lots of absenteeism. They don't meet up their targets. They just simply have quarrels with their colleagues and all. So when stress comes related to work, they have a lot of symptoms that could indicate that an employee or a CEO is going through a stress, and that's the time where we have to manage it.
Okay.
No, but over here within organizations, I think what happens is that people have a habit of creating stress and anxiety too. Because, what they want to do is that they want to look busy and do nothing, right? This is a common phenomenon throughout our organizations over here in Pakistan. You've been a CEO, alhamdulillah, you're still a CEO, you're running organizations. Why do you think that we have this culture of always being under pressure? Oh, I have to do this, oh, I have to do this, oh, I have to do that.
It again comes down to that if you don't look busy, they might lay you off. So I have seen the same thing over and over, that I tell them, look, I understand your job. I understand how much time it takes.
I understand you're not working very hard.
So for God's sake, don't look busy. You just be productive, and do better time management. So the manager's job is Manager's job is to make sure they understand the task they're giving, they understand their capability of their employees, and then based on that they do evaluation, and based on that they should give them the workload also.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they have to be more vigilant about it.
Okay, so now, this is, we've just kind of broken down the workplace environment in different fields, generalizing. We're not saying everyone is like that. But now let's talk about the coping, because the thing is, one person, because I've done all these things, and Shazad knows that because he's been there. So the thing is, I've been told, you express yourself, because when I don't express myself, they can tell that I'm getting agitated, so then they make me express myself, and then I get stressed and angry, and then they're like, all right, then relax, and I'm like, okay, and now...
No, but I think usually the best part is to have some good colleagues or probably team members that what they do is that they'll probably settle you down, they'll try to help you as well. But as a matter of fact, whenever you're in a situation where somebody's telling you symptoms about something, I don't know, I feel very relevant to that. I'm like, oh, okay, this is happening to me. I probably need to go to a doctor then.
Exactly.
This is what usually happens.
Absolutely.
I think the topmost thing we can do to manage our stress basically is to prioritize our life. Different tasks.
What manner do you mean?
Sorry?
Because what do you mean by prioritize our life? Because a lot of people do have their priorities
exactly,
set.
but they are unable to fulfill that. No?
Okay.
Sometimes this is, demand of environment to do certain things which are more important than others. One thing, and time management with respect to your own self-management. So this all brings up the solution. In fact.
Okay.
Right.
So no.
Okay, but in order to get to that place where you are able to manage your time, able to manage your environment, that means that you need to be very, like you said, you have to be very self-aware, and you have to be aware of your situation.
Exactly.
So that means you need a support network. So outside of the workplace. So, Dr. Tell me, Tyra, with the outside support, what needs to be going on within the own personal time of that employee or employer or individual?
Yeah. To manage our stress, this social support network group is the most important thing, because if a person is going through stress and he or she has a very good social support network, she would go to the person who he is close to, and they can just discuss their issues. They can tell them, this is what I'm going through. And especially like just by talking to someone about your stresses leads to catharsis, and it gives you a bit relaxation feeling.
Okay.
And people can come up with solutions, because you yourself is in a stressful situation. You're not thinking, your cognitive abilities are not that appropriate at the time because they are hampered by stress. So the other person could give you a better solution by just looking at your situation from a different angle, from a third person's perspective.
Now the thing is, that answer is great, and that's a really wonderful way for advice to give to people. However, that is assuming that the people around you in your environment are actually aware of the importance of your mental and psychological health. Now, majority of the time what I've seen is, not you guys, because you guys are very good, they really listen to me a lot, but a lot of people devalue what someone's going through, or they try to negate, not on purpose, that person's current situation, current feelings and current emotions. Now, when you're stressed and you already have this anxiety, you're not able to manage your time, you've got anxiety, you're probably going to be suffering from mild depression to a certain degree if the stress is too high. Now, when and you're trying to vent to someone, you're trying to share your experiences, but when the society around you is telling you, relax, don't overreact, why are you being so aggressive? Like, this is the common reaction to every expression of emotion in this country. Why are you overreacting? And it's not just here. It's people from abroad are doing this all the time as well. So what do we do then? Because the support network's there, but it's not really there. We'll start with Salman and then move down.
Actually, this is just what I'm about to say is not just work, it's also for the personal life also. It's more important for the work because we don't realize we spend most of our awake time at work. If you look at it, we spend majority of our awake time at work. So if you're stressed over there and if you're disorganized and all of those things, we talk about it, then your whole life is messed up, even at home and work and friends. So the first thing to me is the most important thing is that you need to have a balanced life. And the balanced lives mean that if you have a balanced life at home, you have balanced life exercise. Part of that balanced life is exercise. Also your spiritual life, then your work life, which is the most awake time, they also will balance. That's the number one, balancing it out.
Okay. So exercise and spirituality is what you would say.
Yes, and obviously better relationship with family and friends.
Okay, Dr. Tyra.
Again, I will definitely second him. And another thing is again self-awareness also. Sometimes it is not related to your work that is stressing you, but it is related to other aspects of your life. Maybe it is something about your future, maybe some financial reason, some other reasons. So we are the better judge of ourselves. We know what is basically bothering us. So instead of brushing that off, we should focus upon our own problems, our own tensions, and again discussion, your social support, your social network, your relatives, your family, they are very important, figures in your lives. And then when you discuss your problems, you definitely get solutions, because this is how we learn from experiences of others.
Okay, but the thing is, in order to learn from our problems and get solutions, we need to be honest about the stresses and the emotions we're going through.
And at times,
the majority of people aren't. Even the CEO, the employer, the employee, no one's being honest.
No, but there's one more thing which I want to add over here, and that is that I've seen quite a lot of people. Not everybody's stressed, especially at workplace. So let's not consider that.
Yeah.
And then I've seen people who take every single day as every single day, right? That okay, this is life. I'm going to wake up. Let me see what's going to be coming my way. And I think those people are more full of energy, they're more productive too, and they deal stress in a very different way. Probably they'll just go out for a walk or sleep for 15 minutes, have a power nap, and they're fine, good to go.
Again, this is all about your priority setting. Again, balancing your life is your priority setting. You have to take care of your health too, because once you are not rested, okay, and your physical needs are not properly met, maybe you are more tired, and maybe you are spending nights, completing those tasks and assignments, you might not be able to, spend a day with energy and with motivation.
Okay, so let's balance it. So first of all, you've got your work life, right?
Right.
Then you've got your family
life.
Then you've got your social life. Then you've got your kids.
Personal life.
Personal life, right? So these 5 things can be balanced. So a research says that only 3 things out of these can be your priority. So which 3 things do you think we need to pick up on? Work, obviously essential.
It is kind of cycle. At one moment, one priority has to be taken into consideration, some other time the other side. Because once you are at work, just focus on your work, and I think one should forget about other problems in life. Again, the day starts and it will be ending
because
by
earlier,
so I'd like to pick up on this, because this is one thing that I was doing a lot of reading, and I was watching the other shows as well. This is one thing that I've noticed is a trend that everyone's saying, like this whole trend of mindfulness, being in the moment, like you just mentioned, people are waking up when they're seizing the day. Isn't that the people, because majority of people don't wake up feeling great all the time. A lot of people do have their ups and downs of their moods. So by saying that, we should wake up and just get on with the day, are we not just then saying that, well, actually what you're feeling, it's irrational and unreasonable, but it's absolutely fine though that they're feeling it. So what are we saying here? It's not okay to feel like that, or it is okay to feel like that?
This is matter of acceptance also, because we are human beings, we have shortcomings, we have weaknesses. We should accept them in the first place. And again, you have to keep your eyes open, because unless you are very well aware of yourself, you will not be able to manage your life even a step ahead.
Because your reserves keep on depleting too as well. I think your brain has got reserves. So please make sure that they're not depleting. But now let's just focus on how to eradicate stress at workplace. And let's ask about recommendations, suggestions, how to do it.
Yeah. One thing that we could do is changing our story, because when we are in a situation, we are looking into the stressful situation with our angle. What we can do is, instead of focusing what other people are saying, if you would be able to do it or not, you're doing this way, please do this that way, or other things that people are commenting. So we could just focus on what we actually are doing. Instead of focusing on people, we can focus on the work we do, and then we can meet up our targets. Another thing which is very important is to fulfill your sleep hours. If you are not sleeping properly, you cannot be healthy, you cannot just focus on your work, you cannot be productive.
One thing like to add. That is your communication skills, I think. Okay, you have to communicate your stress to your surroundings, and again, you don't need to, harbor those feelings inside you, and one day you are exploding. You are ending up into some hospital with some anxiety or panic attack. Instead, you should learn how to communicate your problems to others, whether it is your senior or your junior, because sometimes it is your subordinates who are creating problems for you, and sometimes it is your boss. So you need to learn how to convey your message to others, that this and this action is producing stress, or it is kind of becoming problematic within us, so we can resolve it. Again, discussing, this is important.
And discussing in a way which is not complaining, actually it is to come up with certain solutions that you think are appropriate. You can go to your boss or you can go to your subordinate and tell, these are the solutions that I think, and just discuss them instead of being very demanding or very complaining.
Assertiveness.
Okay, but the thing is, these are all well and good if you're on the top of it. The thing is, majority of people are not fresh and they're not on top of the stress and anxiety. They're probably caught up in the middle where they feel a bit despondent, they've lost weight. The thing is, because this is one conversation I have with my dad. He's a psychiatrist. I'm like, well, we can say, oh, you need to do this, you need to exercise, you need to be more positive. It's very easy to say that to someone, but when that person is feeling lack of motivation, they're feeling a little bit low, maybe suffering from a bit of depression, this advice is not going to do anything. So how are we going to get them out to do this?
Then there is a responsibility on the organization itself. Like, this is not only the responsibility of the person to overcome the stress. When the stress is coming related to work, then organization has to hire someone who could just help them out. They could hire a consultant, or they could just refer the person to
or a clinical
any counselor.
psychologist, right?
Any counselor. Like, work-related stress could be managed by a counselor.
No, but there's
just by
only
discussing.
one thing which I wanted to say, and that is that, people even do have a habit of overthinking. There might not be any stress, or the environment might be very relaxing. What about people thinking by their own heads? Pata nahi yaar.
Only one thing I would stress would be the training. I think training, handling psychological affairs of a person's life is very important, because we are offering programs in, work management, other skills, communication skills, this and that, how to this, and we can simply design a course in every organization that can teach about this, how this overthinking may result.
Okay. Okay.
Can I add?
Yes.
Of course, no, you're not allowed.
Just like to add a couple of things to that. I think obviously this is their subject, and they're making excellent points on that I hope and I wish that everybody could adapt to those things. Just to add two things. One is, as you mentioned, there's so much is coming up. So to you, to get to you practically. So one thing, what you cannot control is coming to you. What you can control is how you react to that. And that is one you can control, especially when you're working for somebody, in an organization or in a group. Then if you can control your reaction, and for that is you have to be positive thinking. So if you come, even though you, as rightly said, that somebody don't feel like it, but you have to act on it, you have to practice it, you have to maybe...
So let's do it. Yeah, so let's do a small experiment, all right? So you just said think positive, think great, think good. Yeah. Okay, so all of this.
Right now,
so all of our childhood, we have been listening to this term: see no evil, do no evil, hear no evil, right?
Yeah.
Speak no evil.
And yeah. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to request you all to please close your eyes. Close your eyes.
Okay. Why are you doing
Close your eyes.
I don't know what he's doing.
Close your eyes. Yeah, it's an experiment. You close your eyes too. Yeah, and don't think about your mother. Don't you dare think about your mother.
Yes.
And you can see the picture of her, of your mother right in front of your eyes.
Exactly.
It's because of the fact that we have a photographic memory. And this is how we think. So why don't we say do good, see good, and hear good? So let's do it the other way around. I think this is what we need to do.
Speak evil, hear evil, do evil.
The other way around is do good, see good. Yeah, right?
It is, again...
So what happens is that eventually when this one thought comes in your head, it keeps on coming back.
Yeah.
And there's no way back then.
Sorry, we'll let someone finish and then we'll come back.
You're very right. Actually, we have a very powerful brain, but at the same time, it cannot do multitasking. It can only do one thing at a time, doesn't matter how brilliant you are. So that's why it is more important to practice. So it doesn't come overnight, it comes with practice. If you keep practicing about positive thinking, keep practicing that, look, I don't have control on everything, but I do have control on my reaction. So eventually you will be able to.
Very nice.
Again, changing your perception to reality would matter.
Change perception.
Yeah, because you can give different meanings to the same situation or environment.
Okay, but how do we do that? Like, how, so someone's stressed. Okay, we have to quickly wrap up. Someone's stressed. How do they see a stressful work environment? Maybe they don't get on with their colleague. How will they put a positive?
If we want betterment, betterment in our life, definitely we attempt different things. If I want to be more healthy, I would go for proper food, definitely. So once having this awareness in my mind that I need to, be positive in my life, I definitely will be looking around. Definitely I'll be finding, because there is a lot of stuff around now. You can simply go on internet and you can, find 5 points, 6 points, 10 points, and then you learn from them always.
Okay, wonderful. And we've actually run out of time. Thank you so much for being here today. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show, discussing stress and in the work environment, how to eradicate it. So with that, I don't know, I'm feeling really stressed, and I'm like thinking, how am I going to turn today into a positive day?
I think the only thing you need to do is probably stop thinking about it, and it is hard. This is what we were saying. This is what we were saying, that it is hard, but change the perception or the reality itself.
Yay, my car got crashed into.
Yay! Treat me, treat me.
Okay, early learning. So with that, do log on to our Facebook fan page.
Which is with the name of World This Morning.
Our Twitter page.
World This Morning with our G.
Our Daily Motion and YouTube page.
World This Morning, World This Morning.
And the repeaters at
11 p.m.
Have a wonderful day. Please drive safe. Do not trust the other person on the road, because you will get hit. So with that, and we'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you very much.